Hi everyone, this is Lada from astrolada.com, and I'm here with the monthly lunar prediction, which is mostly for November, with Siderial Babylonian ancient astrologer Trifon Nikolov. Hi Trifon.
Hello everyone.
Thank you for taking from your time with the little baby and busy family life to do this for us. We're a few days late, but people can't wait for your predictions. You can start whenever you want. I'll try not to interrupt. I always say that, but I always do. So.
Okay. This time we're late for some days. We're missed to comment on the exact day, but there was reasons for this. But we have a lot to discuss today because it's a very important days that are coming according to astrology, ancient astrology. So even I'm not sure what to begin with first.
I want to ask you,
Yes.
the Las Vegas shooting. You mentioned in the previous month, you mentioned there is danger from violence in the States. And where did this come from?
Yes, it comes from at least three different signs. First, there was an occultation of Mars in September, which means that the moon eclipsed Mars.
It passed exactly over it.
Yes.
And the people. And Mars's aggression.
Yes. Also, there was the degree of the solar eclipse, and on 21st of August, activated in the same sign where Mars was. And especially why this was channeled to USA, I have to touch one topic here, a discussion about the true horoscope of USA. What I am using is the chart for the Independence Day for July.
July the 4th?
Yes, but there are different hours discussed. The hour that I am using, I think it is 2 a.m. and 21 minutes in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Just a moment to check. Yes, exactly. So this shows the middle of Taurus, and especially around 18 degrees, I mean the Sidereal Taurus, for ascendant, which is in Western astrology shown as Gemini ascendant. Whatever, the stars of Taurus were rising, and this means that the fourth house of the chart is the sign Leo, and Mars, with all these difficult influences, were transiting there, and especially around the time, I think he was transiting the lower culmination cusp, which is the cusp of the fourth house.
Which is the people, isn't it? The fourth house is the people.
This is the country, the people. So it was very probable to have violence, and with all the other difficult aspects, I thought that this will happen. So it really happens.
That's why you predicted, you said there is danger of violence to the people in the previous video. And unfortunately.
Yes, and there was another supporting aspect in the chart, which is the south node transiting the moon. In the ancient text, they say that the south node has the nature of Mars. It is similar to Mars in the way he's behaving, and the moon again represents the territory, the people. So there are many signs for violence in the States. A very sad event. Whatever, this time I think we will have at least some other good news, not only bad.
Yes.
Not only bad news this time. So we can discuss what else happened, what was real from the predictions from the last time. Many things happened. Many things became true. So, first, in the beginning of the year, I predicted that there will be big travels in Spain.
Yeah, you've been saying that. You've been repeating it almost every month. Yeah.
Yes, the reason was that the Saturn, which will be one of the topics today, Saturn was about to enter Sagittarius constellation, which will happen very soon, in days. And I predicted that there will be travels in Spain. But why it happens so in September and October? It was because Saturn became directed with direct motion in August. In this way, he looked upon Sagittarius from the end of Scorpio. In this way, already aspecting Sagittarius. So I was sure that there will be already big troubles, and this happened. I repeated it, I think, in the last prediction. So there was clashes between the people and the police. There was they tried in Catalonia. They tried to achieve independence from Spain, a country that is almost 10th century under the rule of Spain and part of Spain. And this is really what I think it is a big trouble for Spain. But they tried to achieve independence when Jupiter is invisible, and that's why they do not have success after all. For now.
No.
So this yes, yes. So this is the first thing that became true. The second one was the violence in states, Las Vegas. The third thing, I said that the wealthy people will have great troubles, even they can pass away, which became true. The owner of the big company, cosmetic company, L'Oreal, an old woman, passed away. Her wealth is, I think, around at least $40 billion.
She's considered the wealthiest woman in the world, actually. Not just some wealthy woman, the wealthiest woman in the world.
Yes, the wealthiest woman in the world, in fact. So a few days after that, Hugh Hefner, well known in USA, also passed away. He was also a rich person.
That's because Jupiter is invisible, isn't it? Wealthy people disappearing, expiring.
Yes, Jupiter was disappearing, and he disappeared. And Jupiter represents such persons. And some of them also disappeared. This was the logic. So this was the third thing. And there was another. I said that there will be troubles in the States with persons connected with the world of art. And I think that I said even the time. And famous musician Tom Petty died around the day I predicted there will be such troubles. There were troubles for heart attack about Steve Taylor, the leading vocal of Aerosmith.
Oh, wow, yeah.
This was, the prediction was because in the chart that I'm using about USA, Mars was transiting the cusp of 5th house.
Art.
In around that time. And this was the reason why. One of the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So we can begin with what will happen now in the sky. First, let's talk about Jupiter a little bit later, because before his rise, there is something else to happen. And this is according to Siderial Astrology. Saturn is about to change signs. So on 4th of November, Saturn will leave the constellation of Scorpio, or at least the sidereal borders of Scorpio, which is not exactly the same thing. And he will enter the borders of Sagittarius, which is very significant to all people. So this is, in general, this is a good news. Why? Because Saturn was around 2.5 years in Scorpio, sign owned by Mars and considered a malefic sign, cruel sign bringing many troubles, and Saturn planet giving bad karma and difficulties in general. In bad sign was a really cruel position, and this is about to end.
Yes.
So on 4th of November, Saturn is entering the domain of Jupiter. So Saturn will become a better planet. He will give better results for everyone, which is very important for everyone. For anyone who has some Capricorn or some Aquarius, and in general for all people, because they have in their horoscopes some houses owned by Saturn.
Yeah.
So those houses,
yeah,
those houses will give better results in the next 2 years. So in general, the movement of Saturn in Sagittarius foretells a better time for all humanity, especially in relation to, in comparison to the last 2 years. In ancient astrology, Saturn in Sagittarius was considered a very good position in general, giving good results. So, but what will be the other results of Saturn? Saturn in Sagittarius, as I said already, will affect Spain. For 2 years, there will be a crisis on different levels, and in first, I think the crisis in Spain and in general for the West, because Saturn is entering a fiery sign, and the fire element is connected with the West. Why I think Saturn is entering Sagittarius is affecting all the Western culture and countries, because there is one element, fire, and we have 3 signs there, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And when we have one planet there, especially so important like Saturn, it affects, in fact, all the fiery signs. It's something similar to a conjunction. So, and so Saturn in Sagittarius, it will show the importance of the law and principles. So it will be a very important time for our Western country to follow the principles of honesty, morality, and law. And of course, there will be much troubles in that direction. The important events will be connected with those things.
Basically exposing any kind of transgressions of lawfulness, of honesty.
Yes, following the real principles of, let's say, the Indian term dharma, the right way of act and behaving, which on political level will be very difficult. So I think there will be a crisis because of the lack of morality in the politics. There will be such troubles. So even the events on the international arena in the Western countries, everything will be connected with this. But we know that in politics, honesty is not so often there. So there will be bad consequences because of past mistakes in that direction. So if
some politicians will be punished in a sense.
Yes, no. For example, yes, politicians, yes, but for example, if one country in the past has done something
unlawful,
principally wrong to other country, now there will be consequences.
That's for the states.
not only. It's for all the Western Europe.
Yeah.
In fact,
Western countries.
I think that the thing, all that is happening now in Spain is such thing, but it is not only this. And we can see also that in Italy there are already troubles. Some of the northern provinces are trying to make something similar to Catalonia, what Catalonia did, according to the latest news. Whatever, such things. There will be voices against injustice, against dishonesty on very high level throughout the Western countries in that time. But as you can see, this is a good thing because Saturn is acting with the energy of Jupiter, and Jupiter always is searching for the truth.
Wonderful.
And in this way, Saturn will try to promote the truth and to punish everyone that has made some mistakes in that direction. And also this means that because Sagittarius is connected with the principle of truth in general, and in this way with the higher knowledge and religion. So I can predict that there will be a very difficult time for the religious leaders and for the church in general.
For many years, for 2
years. Because of the mistakes that they made in the past. In relation to the Holy Truth, of course, in first place. So, but for everyone, for the common people, this is an excellent position, creating progress in general for all people. What else Saturn will give? At first, Saturn will have very powerful Jupiterian influence because the first 12 degree of Sagittarius are ruled by Jupiter, not only by sign, but also the degrees. This is called the method of Egyptian terms. So we can expect all that I said to prove very intense in the next 2 months. Also, Saturn in Sagittarius can give dangers to people that are religious, to people that are heads of churches or religious orders or religious organizations in general, no matter the religion. And in general, this position, according to the ancient texts, Saturn in Sagittarius is not so good, because we see that he has also good influences, but it will create some troubles for West Turkey, the west part of Turkey, for Greece for the next 2 years.
Greece have been having it bad.
Yeah, so they are entering a little bit more, especially Greece, because they were having a good time with Jupiter in Virgo, but now Saturn is entering Sagittarius. It's a...
They're ruled by Sagittarius, or?
No. Some parts of Sagittarius are connected with some parts of Greece.
Ah, okay.
Especially the first degrees. And this is the logic. Saturn there will create a lot of tension, but after all, the result will be good. After all.
Good. So
remember this, after all, not immediately.
Yeah.
So after 2 years, for example. So let's see what else. Also, there is something that I have to warn now. According to Vedic astrology, the last degrees of the watery signs, the last 2 degrees of the watery signs, and the first degree of the fiery signs are called with the term Gandanta.
Not.
Which means something like a danger end. And because it is considered that the fire and water element are with difficult relation, yes, it is obvious, and these degrees are considered dangerous. So for some time, until, let's say, until the middle of November, Saturn is in those degrees called Gandanta, which, especially for the people ruled by Saturn, those who have Sun, Moon, or Ascendant in Aquarius or Capricorn in sidereal signs, this can create some more troubles for them. So they have to be a little bit more careful. Definitely. For 2-3 weeks.
Like a contradiction or
all kinds of troubles, even health troubles. It's only a possibility, of course, but this time it is considered to be bigger. So maybe we will talk later about Saturn again. Let's talk now about Jupiter. So, more good news, so to say. We saw that Saturn will enter Jupiter domain. Last time, one of the reasons to predict a bad month, was that Jupiter was about to disappear in the rays of the sun. And that's why I said that there will be not so much divine protection for all people. And, or let's say, the consequences of good karma created in past lives for everyone were not so dynamic or active in that time. Still, it is so until 12th of November. But on 12th of November, this time will end. And Jupiter will rise for the first time, appearing from the rays of the sun in the morning. This is a very important thing. It is the beginning of the Jupiter's year, so to say, according to ancient rules of astrology. It's a very good sign for everyone. When Jupiter is about to appear, he is protecting the law, truth, honesty. He is showing truth and knowledge for everyone, and he is giving more luck in general and success in general for everyone. So in relation to what house Jupiter rules for everyone, there will be something good that will happen for almost all people around 12th of November. Of course, it is even more complex. Jupiter will rise, but in conjunction with Venus. And we will look, but maybe Venus will be higher than Jupiter in the sky when Jupiter appears. Which can mean that for the Jupiter's year that will follow, the time until the next heliacal rise of Jupiter, Venus will have something to do with Jupiter. And what will be that? Venus represents the influence of many good things, but apart from everything, it is connected with the material world. It rules Taurus. On the other side, Jupiter rules such signs like Sagittarius and Pisces that are connected with spirituality. So in the next 12 months, this sign of appearing of Jupiter with Venus will mean that there will be direct confrontation between the, let's say, the moral principles and the material interests throughout the world. This will create many different situations for people, and in general, I think that there will be a conflict between the law and the financial world. Which in general is good for everyone, but it will create different difficult situations, especially on economical financial level for different countries. Like troubles with debts, for example. Here comes maybe again Greece in the spotlight, but also other situations. Of course, the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter will produce many excellent things for the world. That's why I'm considering it in general good. With one warning that in Vedic astrology they are considered enemies, Jupiter and Venus. And because they are enemies, that's why I think that there will be conflicts between those two worlds, that they don't have so much common things, but in fact it is different.
Maybe like the material world and the moral, the spiritual representatives of the spiritual and moral. And,
for example, Jupiter can shed light on all the games that the financial world play.
Mm-hmm.
This will be one of the effects. On the other hand, because Venus can appear, and we will see that if it is so, if Venus appear higher than Jupiter, this can mean that after all, the financial considerations and motives and the world of finances can prove to be stronger than the spiritual forces for that time.
So we have to watch which comes higher.
Yes, definitely. What is higher is stronger.
Street is gonna win if Venus is higher. Wall Street and corporations and banks, the material worlds are gonna, and the law.
Yeah, and the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus, that will be a sign for Jupiter. It is in the sign of business. Libra is considered sign strongly connected with business. So definitely there will be a very interesting year about world of economics throughout the world. And there will be, I can say, difficult events, definitely. There will be difficult events.
What if Jupiter comes higher, rises first before Venus?
We will have to see if that happens, because there will be something else that will happen later, but we will speak about it in the next monthly prediction.
Yeah, you have to watch with your eyes to see, because even softwares can't predict which one will appear first.
Yes, we'll have to see first.
So a lot of cold nights on your roof, huh? Waiting for Jupiter to appear.
Yes, yes. So whatever, the appearing of Jupiter here means also other things. In ancient times, this rising of Jupiter, he had a name. In Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia, he was called the hero of the dawn.
The dawn.
The hero of the dawn. Yes. So this way, it shows the great positive power that he has in that time. And so they say, when later in the next days or weeks, when his light becomes stable, because at first his light will be not stable.
It flickers, yeah.
So he will, this is ancient text. So when his light became stable, kings that are enemies will have peace. So let's hope that this means that USA and North Korea will achieve peace between them in somehow.
Well, this happens every year, though. Oh, you mean when it's in the constellation of Libra only?
In Libra, with Venus is much more stronger in that direction, definitely. And of course, it happens every year, but every year we have different events between countries. So this time, this can happen. Okay, so do you hear me?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay. Something else will happen also, because Jupiter will be appearing with Venus, and Venus is planet connected with the water element. So Jupiter will intensify the effect of the water element, and this means there can be floods, heavy rains throughout the world. So you can expect a lot of raining in the middle of November. Different places in the world. Maybe this can happen in France, for example, but also in other countries. So be prepared if you can. So something else Jupiter is giving his effects very much about France and Egypt, which is good for those countries, but he was invisible, and so his effect was not so strong about them. For example, the speech of the French president about more justice and equality between peoples. There was such important speech in September. I don't think that for now it has much effect for the intentions that he said. Maybe because Jupiter was invisible. In the meantime, Jupiter will move further and will affect other countries. From 2nd of November until 20th of December, he will throw his effect on northern Syria. And in this way, we can expect difficult time about achieving peace and more justice. But after all, I think it is coming a better time for northern Syria, Damascus, those lands.
The Saturn will be out of their sign.
Yes, but this is the effect of Jupiter right now for those lands. So maybe the peace between enemies can happen also there. In fact, Jupiter in Libra is a great power about peace and harmony in the next 12 months. And about love, of course.
Relationship.
So about the lunar month, I can say that the appearance of the moon was in Libra without bad aspects. And with the light of good stars. So in general, this foretold, in general, most of the days will be good for the world, with more peace and harmony. Of course, everything cannot be so ideal. In those days, we have also Venus in Virgo and Mars in Virgo, which means there is a special influence that is showing better time for the working class in general, for at least 2-3 weeks.
Sure. Yeah.
But let's see what will happen. So only after 2 days, 28th of October, in the USA chart, Saturn will make opposition to Mars. So, what to say? Saturn and Mars. And I think, again, there is some more danger about violence, of course, because of the aspect of Saturn to another malefic planet, Mars. Also, there can be conflicts for the allies of USA. Difficult relations with previous allies or with the former allies, with the allies that are now. So difficult relationships between the country and other countries in general in the next few days, especially on 28th. And there is a danger of bad events for those countries and for United States too.
Mm-hmm.
From at the same time, when Saturn is entering Sagittarius, we have ingression of Venus with in Libra constellation, which is excellent for everyone. Venus, the planet of love and harmony, entering her own sign. For many people, especially those ruled by or connected with Libra and Taurus, this is excellent time. So we have around half of all the people influenced by Saturn, Jupiter, and Venus in 1 month in a good way, which is excellent for everybody. So again, the energies of love and peace will become stronger because Venus is entering Libra. Especially on 4th of November, the Sun will make a conjunction with an important star, and this is the star called Gamma from the constellation Corona Borealis, Northern Corona. The star is considered to have the nature of Mercury and Venus, so this is a very auspicious star. So it's a very good time to begin a relationship or art project, or whatever there can be in beginning. There is a very good probability that it will become successful, especially if you begin it around sunrise.
I remember when you did the webinar on the fixed stars, you said that Gem also gives you awards, that you're recognized and popular and loved, an award that I think Charlie Chaplin has it on his ascendant. But obviously, if you start something that you want to receive recognition and award, maybe that's also the time.
Yes, and it will be especially even more stronger because Venus will be also in the sign.
Yeah.
So, and very, very, very auspicious influences from the stars at that time.
So 4th of November, approximately, around that time.
Yes. About 7th of November, Mercury, who will be in Scorpio soon, is showing that it will be a good time for any kind of medical treatment. No, not any kind. It's not so good time for the pregnant women.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to be more careful, especially between 8 and 15 of November, but especially, let's say, what day? 7th of November. So for a
Why?
couple of days, because Mars is moving in the belly of Virgo,
Oh, they have
of
Virgo.
the Holy Mother. So maybe there can be some more troubles with pregnant women because of this. Especially on 7th, he will be in conjunction with the star Purima, an ancient goddess of childbirth. This is the name of ancient goddess of childbirth.
Mars is then Purima.
And Mars will be with this star. So be careful.
That's in tropical Libra somewhere, and in Sidereal Virgo.
Yes. So what else will happen? Mars will make some dangerous moves, especially when between 8th of and 15th of November, he will consequently make conjunctions with the stars of Corvus, or in other words in English, the constellation Raven. So those stars are considered malefic stars, with the natures of Mars and Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, and they promote things like accidents, violence, and greediness. And the conjunctions of Mars with those stars can bring difficult experiences in the world connected with all kinds of troubles. So bad days between 8 and 15 November. Don't start anything around that time, especially if it is connected with health.
With health.
Yes. The good influences about health are 6th and 7th November.
Unless you're pregnant.
Yeah. So
and this Raven constellation is not on the ecliptic, so these are projected positions of the stars on the ecliptic, isn't it, where Mars is passing?
of course, many of the stars are far away from the ecliptic.
From where Mars is moving, but
Mars is moving on the path of the ecliptic through the places where the aspects of those stars are. So, and in this way, he is considered to be in conjunction with them. But with the star Purima, he will be in visual conjunction.
Mm-hmm.
Because the star is on the ecliptic. So I saw some, I think, very troublesome signs around 20th of November.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are more for Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Between 18th and especially 18th and 21st of November, Mars will make very important aspects in the ingression chart of the year. And I think that this portends big danger of terrorist attacks around that time, especially maybe for London, but also for other places in Europe. So be careful around that time.
And isn't the full moon, actually the new moon in Scorpio is activating again the eclipse point? The eclipse. It's the eclipse in Leo. It's 1 degree away from it in square.
Of course, you're right about this, but okay, let's take a look about it. But I was not thinking about this because it is for the around the next prediction. But yes, it is around the same time. It is 2 degrees apart, or degree and a half apart from aspect with the eclipse. So definitely you are right that this is another bad sign around that time, because it falls especially on 18th of November, which is the first date that I consider to be dangerous. So you're right, this is another sign. So danger of violence in Europe, but maybe not so, not only in Europe.
Now also the States, the eclipse are here.
Yes, yes, also probably in the States, and I will tell you why. There are other aspects that are coming, and especially on 19th of November, Mars will transit Saturn in the chart of USA. With the combination of Mars aspecting important factors in the ingression chart and the activating of the eclipse degree, again, this is a bad time about violence and terrorist attacks, and also other kind of natural disasters. In fact, natural disasters also are possible because Mars is affecting. We saw already that he can create different kinds of natural disasters. Mars with Saturn in the USA chart, because Saturn rules the moon and the culminating sign, can create troubles both for the leaders of the country. Maybe they have to consider to be more careful around those days, and again for the common people because of the association with the moon of the aspect. Whatever, around that time, still we already have Jupiter visible. So when we have Jupiter visible, this can make the danger not so big after all. Or let's hope so.
There is helping, protective.
Yes, but I think that especially about London, 21st of November can be really dangerous. So I don't have time to check for every city and so on. So I looked for some important ones that has history about it. So in general, Mars influence will be very, very strong between 18 and 21st of November, creating all kinds of troubles and violence.
But thankfully, as you said, Jupiter is also visible, so it can be, help.
Definitely this will help. Whatever, even with those bad influence of Mars for some days, the prediction for this month is very important and is positive in general for the future. So the good elements of the astrology influences are prevailing in general.
Yes.
from the beginning of November. The key points are 4th of November, entering of Saturn in Sagittarius, and 12th of November, appearance of Jupiter in the sky in the morning. So, good news for everybody.
Wonderful.
After all.
Well, thank you so much for taking from your time and so in depth. And I've been also making notes because I'm always curious to see the things that you said. I even started watching the news. I don't watch the news, and I started watching the news because of those monthly you do, and I'm like, following what's happening, and there's so many relevances always. But thank you for that, and people look forward always to those monthly predictions because they learn ancient astrology at the same time, and they plan their month ahead as well. So you are fantastic again. Thank you. If you want a personal reading with Trifon Nikolov, I'm going to put the link below. And of course, check out the webinars that he has created with astrolada.com on fixed stars. Everything that he talks now, he uses a lot of fixed stars. And basically, if you want to understand everything about each of the important fixed stars, there is a whole webinar he's created. And also the points of compatibility for marriage lovers, isn't it? Arabic points. That was very unique course that you always do your compatibilities using those points, that there are special points that you calculate that indicate whether you can get married with someone at all.
Yes, those points, they are, I can say, one of the most important keys in astrology.
Yeah, yes. This is how you don't even look where is your moon, where is their moon. You only look at those points and tell them this can work, this is not going to work.
Yes.
That's what I think that's what you do. But anyway, exactly. Thank you so much, Trifon. And I will see you next month again. Looking forward to that.
Thank you for watching us and enjoy the upcoming good influences. So we will talk again. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.